It was a Monday night in October 2025 when Britain sat down and got played. Channel 4's Dispatches aired a documentary called Will AI Take My Job? A punchy, relevant title designed to hook every anxious office worker in the country. For 20-odd minutes, a sharp, articulate journalist named Aisha Gabon walked viewers through the very real threat of artificial intelligence in the workplace. She was credible. She was compelling. She was entirely fake. In the final seconds, the twist landed like a punch to the chest. Aisha Gabon was not a person. She had never been a person. She was a fully AI-generated presenter, Britain's first, and 564,000 viewers had not noticed a thing. Channel 4 had made their point before the credits rolled. If AI could fool a television audience into trusting a journalist who didn't exist, what exactly was it doing to the rest of us while we weren't looking? Meet Sarah. She is 34, works in HR for a mid-sized logistics company on the outskirts of Coventry, and has done the job well for 7 years. She is good at it, the kind of person who remembers a candidate's name, who writes a rejection email with enough warmth that people don't feel worthless, who knows instinctively when a line manager is the real problem in a disciplinary case. 18 months ago, her company quietly rolled out an AI platform to handle first-stage recruitment, screening CVs, drafting job descriptions, generating interview question sets. Nobody told Sarah her job was under threat. Nobody needed to. She watched a third of her daily workload disappear into an algorithm and understood perfectly well what she was looking at. I kept waiting for someone to say something, she said. They never did. They just kept telling me I could focus on the more strategic stuff. But the strategic stuff was always done by someone more senior than me. She does not hate the technology. That is the part that surprises her most. She just wishes someone would be honest about what it means. Sarah is not a real person. She is a composite, drawn from the experiences of workers, reports and testimonies gathered across the UK over the past 2 years. But she is not a fiction. There are thousands of Sarahs, and most of them are still waiting for someone to say something. Across Britain's offices, the open plan floors of insurance firms in Leeds, the legal departments of firms in Birmingham, the HR hubs of NHS contractors in Manchester, the same quiet displacement is playing out. Not with fanfare, not with redundancy notices. Just a slow, creeping redistribution of work that used to belong to people. According to the UK's Office for National Statistics, nearly a quarter of British businesses were using some form of AI technology by late 2025, up from just 9% 2 years earlier. The workers feeling it hardest are not on the factory floor. They are the administrative assistant who used to draft correspondence, the paralegal who used to summarise case files, the sales analyst who used to build weekly reports. People, in other words, like Sarah, skilled, experienced and entirely unprepared for a restructure that was never announced. The think tank IPPR has modelled what comes next. In the most likely scenario, over 500,000 UK jobs are lost to AI displacement, even as GDP grows by £64 billion a year. The gains flow upward, the losses land quietly on the desks of people who are never told to worry. The experiment has already been run. In America, Wired journalist Amanda Hoover spent a week handing her entire job to an AI agent. Research, interviews, drafts, the lot. It was, she found, uncomfortably capable. It could summarise, structure, and mimic her tone with startling accuracy. It fell apart only when the work demanded something harder to name. The instinct that a source was deflecting. The nose for which detail mattered. The judgment call that no prompt could anticipate. Sarah would recognise that description immediately. The AI handling her company's recruitment could screen 500 CVs overnight. What it could not do was notice that a candidate's hesitation on a video call meant they were fleeing a toxic workplace rather than chasing opportunity. That red, built from years of watching people across a desk, still belonged to her. For now. Back in the UK, McKinsey reported that between May 2022 and May 2025, the total number of job vacancies fell by 43%, from 1.3 million to 0.7 million. McKinsey attributes much of that to broader economic forces: rising interest rates, cautious consumers, tighter public finances. But not all of it. The silence where those jobs used to be is not entirely empty. It just has a different kind of occupant now. Not everyone is losing. The World Economic Forum projects 170 million new jobs created globally by 2030, and AI will generate entire categories of work that do not yet exist. ADP research found that 14% of UK workers strongly believe AI will improve their working lives, placing Britain ahead of Germany and France in workplace optimism. Those workers are adapting, reskilling, and in some cases thriving. For them, the tools are a multiplier, not a threat. But they are not Sarah. And the uncomfortable truth is that there are far more Sarahs than there are early adopters. More people watching their workload quietly redistribute than there are people being handed the keys to something new. Sarah is still waiting, not for redundancy, not yet, just for a conversation that has not happened. A manager who sits down and says, "Here is what is changing. Here is where you fit. Here is what we are going to do about it." 7 years of institutional knowledge, and no one has thought to ask what it is worth. Somewhere in an office tomorrow morning, a person will sit down at their desk, open their laptop, and start a working day that looks almost identical to the one they had 5 years ago. Same chair, same coffee, same login screen. But the job, quietly, incrementally, without a single conversation, is not quite the same job anymore. And somewhere in a server farm they will never visit, something that has never needed sleep, never asked for a pay rise, and never once waited for someone to say something, is already ahead of them.